All right, my loves, if you are going through a crazy tower moment that makes no sense, if you are facing off with your absolute biggest fears, if it looks like shit's hitting the fan, this message is for you. I've pulled some cards that I'm going to read to you, but before we dive in, I want to share with you a memory of mine that was brought up, something that happened that I think is going to help you, okay? So you're being called essentially to see beyond the surface of things. Things are not as they seem. I know you know this, but it can be really easy when our biggest fears are being triggered to get caught up in looking at what appears to be going on the outside, what appears to be a loss, what appears to be like impending doom, and start feeding energy into that, okay? I think you know intuitively that you don't have any time left to do that because your time is now. It's time to move into everything you've asked for, okay? So I was reminded of a time, so I live in California, we have like little mini earthquakes here all the time, but I was living in Chile in South America like several years ago, and I had never experienced a really big earthquake until one day it just started happening. And I was in this apartment with this girl I was renting with, and I just was like, oh my gosh, I know what's happening. Like, you know, it was like shaking is like this thing you've never experienced before, but like you just intuitively know what's happening. And so the girl starts freaking out. The other girl starts freaking out. And I just was like, and she's from South America, so she's experienced this before. But me, who had never experienced it before, just like, I snapped into that like grounded mode of everything's okay. And I held space and I was like, it's okay, just breathe, like, you know, you got this. Like I snapped into leader mode. And it was surprising to me because I didn't have time to actually process what happened after. And I know this sounds like a little thing, it kind of is, but it kind of pertains to what's going on in your life, if this is resonating for you, right? And it was like, in that moment afterwards, I realized, I was like, wow, in a split second, I had the ability to shift into the part of me that is peaceful and knows that everything's going to be okay, and knows exactly what's going on, knows that it feels a little scary to our human self, but like it's going to pass. You just have to breathe and wait it out. Yeah. It was going to pass either way. But me and the other girl, we both had two very different experiences, right? I wouldn't say either were particularly pleasant, but, you know, hers was like a lot more frantic. And I was just like, oh, okay, that happened, right? So you're having a moment like that, okay? And I know that if you tap deep within you, you are going to know in your heart and soul what's happening. And if you feel like there's literally nothing you can do about it, I want to remind you that is because you're not supposed to do anything about it. It's really time for you to receive what you know you're here to receive. You know, it's like we can believe and believe up until a certain point, and then there comes a split second where we are asked to walk by faith and not by sight and really practice what we've been telling ourselves we believe. It's like you never actually fully believe it until you're in the moment and you receive it, right? So as you choose to stay centered is the moment you receive everything you've asked for, okay? So I want you to not give into your fear. I want you to tap into the deep inner knowing. The cards I pulled were falling, right? Number five, it adds up to a 5, it's 14. And then this adds up to a 10, 46, just for a moment, joy, okay? There's a big completion happening and your soul wants you to let this be as easy as possible, okay? So I'm going to read you the cards from the book. It says, don't worry. You may fear that you are falling, but it's just your soul diving deeper into the ocean of bliss. It's not what it looks like, okay? And you know that deep down. So when you stay anchored to that. Are you sensing parts of your life flying away from you, out of control, as the momentum of your divine surrender takes over and becomes more powerful than the old adhesive between you and what no longer serves? Laugh, cry, celebrate, and ponder. Whether it makes sense or not, you are like a perfectly ripe fruit falling from the universal tree, succulent and ready to be enjoyed for all that you are. If you wait any longer, this moment will be lost and you'll end up on the ground, having to decay and go to seed in order to start the whole process again. This is not so bad, but what a shame if your sweet nectar was not to be savored by a hungry world. You deserve to be declared the most delicious, juicy fruit that ever was. So fall. You'll end up exactly where you were meant to be. The This oracle contains a message for you. You are being called closer into divine union and into the fulfillment of your destiny now. It is safe for you to trust what is happening. Go with it. It might seem like you are being asked to take a leap of faith. It's the right timing for that. It's your time to give yourself in love without holding back anything from yourself. Okay? So you're really being asked to trust and surrender. Okay? An affirmation that's really good is, I am wide awake to my good. You know, all the work you've been doing, my loves, has been to collapse time and space in your mind, because those are human constructed programs that give us the illusion that our good is someday out in the future, that there's separation between it. Okay? So what looks like chaotic and like it's falling apart, let it. Stay centered in who you know yourself to be. What have you been claiming for yourself? What's the freedom that you've been praying for and claiming? Because it's right here, right now. Okay? So you can affirm that divine love is clearing out the distortions in your mind, that you see clearly, and that you are wide awake to your good. And another one you might want to add in if you're feeling fear is, one, just breathe. Remind yourself it's old programming just being purged. It's not happening for another cycle. It will only happen for another cycle. Like in that card, it said if you don't surrender, if you let yourself fall to the ground, and give up, then you'll have to start the cycle again. But if you can surrender it, if you can just free fall and trust that life is catching you, because it is, you're already there. It's already done. It's already yours. It's finished. You can receive it now. You're going to reap the rewards of everything you've been working towards. Okay. So another one, so just breathe and remember, to wrap that up, remember that it's old programming and it's just surfacing to purge out once and for all. Okay. And this is why I'm saying it's likely your biggest fucking fear, because this is the last layer. It's the ones that are really deep in your subconscious, your deepest fears, survival patterns. Okay. But it's not as it seems, and you know who the fuck you are. So I need you to stay strong and remember. Okay. And another one for these survival fears that are coming up is, I am provided for. I am provided for. Okay. So how can you navigate these energies? Just for a moment, joy. Okay. So it's going to be very important to be in the present moment and to not let yourself buy into the fear of what could go wrong, because right here, right now, the truth is you're safe. Okay. And I know you know this. So be in the present moment and look at how can you cultivate joy. Just like I said, can you laugh? Can you celebrate? Can you laugh at the craziness, right? Okay. So let me read you this card before we run out of time. What we feel and express, what we choose at any given time, is our offering to the divine cosmic matrix, the energy you're sending out. It germinates and is reflected back to us as manifestation in this material reality. Can you choose to gentle your heart, to just let it be open to light and life? Even if just for a moment, right? So when you're struggling, be like, okay, just in this moment, I'm going to choose to be in my heart, to relax, to feel it expand, to know I'm okay, and maybe even open up to some joy. Yeah? Okay? Even if just for a moment. If you're in the midst of darkness or deep suffering, can you find even just for a moment the joy of existence underneath it? It is a wild ride, this life. Every time you open your arms in yes, the universe responds to kind. Okay, so when I say open your heart, it's softening. So thinking of your desires and just being yes, I am accepting and allowing my miracles. I am accepting and allowing my good. Okay, this oracle brings you a message. In this moment, trust that there is joy waiting to be felt and found, no matter how hard that may be to believe right now. Let go of your attachment to the apparent problems at hand as much as you can, and you will be allowing yourself to let the divine take over and sort out what needs to happen here. Okay, really hear that. There's help awaiting your invitation always. Why not let it in and let joy in too, right? It's going to happen either way. Just let it be happy. Okay, let yourself be happy. You're being offered divine support to live a less guarded existence, to dissemble yourself a little or a lot, and let your true nature, which is joy, bubble to the surface without rhyme or reason other than because it lives. Okay, my loves, this was a powerful reading. If you are looking for further support, the link in my bio has all the ways I can support you, either with a personal reading, email coaching, or I have a bunch of beautiful self-paced programs. You've got this. Stay in your center. You know who you are. Okay? I love you.